Hello, and welcome to Marathon Swim Stories. I'm marathon swimmer and coach Shannon Keegan. Today, we get to hear from someone who's found a knack for organizing huge teams to support ultra endurance marathon swimmers. It was months ago that I spoke to Gordon Bugeja, Maltese resident and friend of Neil Ajus. He insisted that I release Neil's episode first. But today, I hope you enjoy hearing Gordon Bugeja's marathon swim support story. So, thank you so much for being my guest today, Gordon. I'm so excited that you reached out to me in the first place. It was wonderful to find out what's going on over there in Malta, and I am just thrilled to be able to talk to you today. So tell me.
I'm happy to be here. It's been long coming, so yeah. I guess you pushed me into it. So
That's right. First off, tell me, how do I pronounce your last name?
It's Bugeja, but I guess don't worry about it. Gordon is more than fine, so it's Bugeja.
Okay, I'll do my best.
It's a Maltese surname.
Yeah. I'll do my best. No promises, though.
No, don't stress. Gordon, I think it's much easier than. So don't worry about it.
Bugeja. Okay.
Bugeja. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. So tell me, Gordon, what's your story? I mean, there's so many things I want to get into, but just start telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll see where you take me.
Well, Gordon, I'm a Maltese local. I'm 45 years old, and I am married. I have an 8-year-old son who is a passionate swimmer also. So yes, cool. I think that's in a nutshell who I am as a person. So I guess you're more interested now on the swimming side.
No, I'm interested in you. Are you? Okay. Were you a swimmer at all yourself?
No, I come from many different backgrounds of sports. Basically, I started athletics. I used to do pole vault, I think, when I was much younger. Definitely was great fun to learn a new sport as pole vault. Unfortunately, due to dislocation of a shoulder, I had to move away from pole vault, and I took squash very seriously, and I also represented Malta in the 8 years of playing squash quite intensively. Wow. Which was great fun also, definitely. It's a sport that gives you quite a lot in a very short period of time. And as always, I always like to try new things. So next was sailing. I was quite passionate on sailing also. I'm doing squash, and I took quite sailing seriously with offshore sailing, quite a lot of racing and boat and also one design in sailing. So I went to World Championships, took part in offshore and famous offshore races. So yeah, had my share, quite a lot of share of time on the water, which was fantastic. So always a passionate of the sea. I'm a diving instructor also, as one of my things I did when I was young. So always was fascinated by the sea. I never took swimming seriously, and then I did a couple of marathons also after sailing. And I said after 3 attempts at the half marathon, I said I should try swimming. And one of the local most famous swims is across the channel between the two, about 6K. And there is where I had a long chat with Neil. And I told him, Neil, it's time to get myself swimming. And in a year and a half, I swam the 6K in a decent time of about 2 hours. So it was quite for me successful, and it gave me the thrill I wanted through swimming.
So you met Neil. How did you initially?
No. Initially, I met Neil through my son Zach. He started swimming with Neil when Zach was 6 months old, and he's been swimming with Neil since that age. So he's 8. Now, in the last year, he joined the elite squad of Neil's school, and this year he's attempting his first challenge of swimming at 2.2 open water swim. So we're looking forward to it in September. Once again, it's all in aid of awareness on using single-use plastic. This is what sort of Neil is focusing. And Zach, my son, and while to all the hours of planning the knee swim and that shit, I said, I want to do my own challenge. And here we are training, 6 weeks to go. And we're looking forward to it. So quite a follow-up also in Malta, and hopefully we'll continue cleaning up our beaches and rock, and trying to influence people using single-use plastic. So that's a mission always.
I love it. I love it. That's so fantastic. And it's such a big challenge. I wish we could get to the source, make the corporations not put the plastics out, right? Then we wouldn't have to pick them up.
Yeah, definitely. And this is sort of while Wave of Change Foundation always supports cleanup, is trying to pass on the message how at least every family, every household can go through their usage and find a couple of items that can be taken off from their shopping list of being single use. If it's a shampoo, if it's a liquid soap, if it's water, if it's something to reduce the amount. And teaching also what to dispose in the biodegradable trash, because not everything is being selected in the right bag, and it's being then reused in another way. So it's all about teaching, and this is where sort of Wave of Change is pushing in Malta with also education.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that your son wants to get involved and do his own swim.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
And that's what sort of I think is all about awareness. And and as parents, was a quite hard sort of a mixed decision. Do we support? Are we pushing too much by letting this sort of a bit of more sort of coverage from the newspaper and journalists? Is he at the right age of sort of being on the spotlight? But until the message is all about trying to reduce single plastic, as both parents, we're supporting that. So he knows he can stop whenever he wants during his challenge. There is no commitment. It's just let's have fun and try to pass the message.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Gordon. Good job, Dad.
Thank you. It's both parents, not me only. So, and it's all about him until he's enjoying it. So God bless him.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit you met Neil through your son's school when he was 6 months old. Exactly. And he's been swimming with him for all that time. How did you end up getting into this kind of support role?
Great. So as during your last sort of chat with Neil has done now 4 challenges. So when he was going to do around Malta, which was a 70K, which was now I think 4 years ago, he asked me to be a support rib driver. So I just was a rib driver on that occasion. And immediately, sort of the core team was established, which was Neil, his partner, which Lara is. I think they do the challenges all together. They're always together. She's always awake with him. So trust me, I'm sure Neil, if you get the chance, will tell you all about the support he gets from his partner. And a few other people started gelling from that. After that, I was also involved into the short distance record breaking goals of going around the island of Gozo, which he managed in 10 hours, 37K. So it was also short but intense. And after that, he told me, I'm planning to do Sicily and Malta. And I told him, cool. I told him, surely I'm part of it. And I guess 6 months 6 months before the Sicily Malta, we were having a chat at the pool. I told him, Neil, so how is your organization going about Sicily Malta? And as a relaxed person as Neil, I said, not much. I guess we'll be the same people, go to Sicily. I jump in the water and come back. I told him, what? I told him, well, I guess you need a permit to cross, a busy shipping lane. We need to do a notice to mariners. I guess we need to get a doctor with us and study the weather and make sure we are, get some. Oh, he said, oh, it takes more than that. And he sort of said, it looks, more than me what it takes to do more than a 24-hour swim. I told him, yeah. I told him, if you're going for 100K swim, it takes more than a rib, a couple of snacks on the boat, and let's go. So from there, without any further discussions, I took on the role, and I became sort of team principal and organized the Sicily Malta swim. And I guess from there, we've been working and improving also swim after swim.
Yeah, it's a beautiful I want to say, I'm going to say marriage, but you know what I mean, like just the relationship between you and Neil. That I mean that he is the relaxed person that's able to just go out there and swim, but you do, as a person who's prefers just the swimming, I need that guy that's going to be planning it for me.
If there is two people who are different, I'm north, he's south. The most relaxed person in the world, and I guess it's one of his main skills and talents. While he is an amazing stroke, he has an amazing stroke, and he can really focus his mind on what he's doing on the day, and let the team focus on the rest. So, and I'm the planner, I'm the risk assessment guy. I'm on the other side of the fulcrum to say whenever he decides something, I'm the first guy to say, no, this is too much, this is etc. And then he keeps on talking about it. And after 2 weeks of convincing him, I don't think it's a good idea. And then I say, okay, if you really want, I will make it happen. And then I change the focus and make it happen. So there's always the first couple of weeks of, Neil, I think we can find a better solution, etc. So and once I put my head in it and say, okay, Neil, if you really want to do it, and this is what you really want to swim, then let's make it happen. So, and then it takes anywhere between, I guess, a solid 6 months working on it to make it happen.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about how you got the experience, and I guess to know to like make the recommendations about. So was that from your sailing experience mostly?
As I said, I was very active in different campaigns. So I had like 15 tough offshore racing where it took quite a lot on preparing the boat, getting the team together. And I've always been put into that task of project management. Well, that's my professional life as a specialist. So I always running projects one after the other. So it's been all my life planning projects and together. I also did 3 expeditions mountaineering also in my life. So I also planned those. So my experience always been how to plan, get people together, choose the right team, and get from from A to B. So it's always and the team is everything. So that's
absolutely.
As Neil says, when I walk up the beach after I finish a race, we're walking up as a team, I'm walking alone, and we all respect how much he believes in the team around him, and as all I think marathon swimmers, they all appreciate what team is behind them and how much work it takes for them to get from to do what they like to do. So and for me, it's always that is the challenge, in those 6 months. We were at this time a team of 23 people, so all voluntary, all committing. Every time I ask for a video call, I ask for something, they're all there, giving their utmost, giving their feedback, and it is amazing how 25 different cycles of life all come together for one to just be part of it, and it's amazing. I believe we are honored to be part of it, and this time just going for a world record swim was just unbelievable. So it takes athlete, but it takes also a team behind the athlete to make it successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to dig a little into your project management skills. Do you think that's something, obviously you've honed it in all different capacities with mountaineering, sailing, offshore racing, all the stuff. Is that a skill that you think that you were kind of born with, or is that something that you like developed?
I think I've been born with it. Both my sister and my father are quite great project managers, both in their different lifestyle. My father spent 25 years also as in the police force, so he always was a leader and running squads. So, and I guess it's been passed on generation after generation. Yeah. So I think it's something which I love doing. I've been doing it as a professional. If it's from opening retail stores, doing startups, changing. So everything is for me as a project. It gives me a challenge. It gives me a buzz, and even my sports life has always been a project. I want to achieve A, I need to achieve B, I achieve it and then move to the next. So, It's always the same. I did the offshore race in Malta, the Rolex Medal Z race, 15 times until I won it. So when I won it, then what's next? Okay, let's try to do a half marathon under 2 hours, and then let's try to swim. So it's always been what's next, what's gonna drive me to the next, to wake up in the morning, train, wake up at 5, and do the next thing, eat healthy, go to the gym, whatever it is. It's always something that always pushes me to the next, great thing. So and my son is almost the same. So my wife is not very happy about it. It's still 8. He's already going cycling and swimming. What he's gonna do when he's 18? You're gonna make him crazy. So yeah, so it's a bit, but it's such a buzz, This is what I think we're part of it. We're just my friends. Some of them say you get Gordonized, after a bit when you spend some time with me, you get a bit of a Gordonized.
I need to hang out with you more then. I think it's good. It's good to know that about yourself, though, because then you can play to that strength and you can keep doing the projects and you get the buzz, versus if you just don't know, or I don't know. I think it's fantastic, and it's good that your son maybe can recognize that about himself and leverage it however he chooses.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't hear this recording, so he continues to have fun.
Yeah, he'll have fun. He's a kid. Yeah. So talk to me about building a team. What have you kind of learned over the years so that you could get just the right team for this world record attempt?
I think for this world record attempt, it was a very tough route we chose. As I'm not sure if you follow the media, the original route was to swim between Africa and Europe, Tunisia and Sicily. So it is definitely one in a million, an epic swim. It has millions of challenges to just start with, you know. It's far away from our local waters. It's about 48 hours of sailing away, so we had to be quite self-sufficient. We're crossing one of the busiest shipping lanes, two massive fishing reefs that is very popular for trawling. So the first thing I did is I did a PowerPoint presentation to Neil with all the challenges the swim put in. And from there, I started building who we should need on the team. So to tackle all these different challenges. And so we ended up this time going on this mission sort of with 23 crew. I think 11 are the core crew, which sort of are crucial to be on the boat, and the others are all amazing people who join with their different skill sets and form part of the team. To go 6 days, 23 crew, we were going to be 4 sailing boats and 10-meter rigid rib with 2 twin engines to do the big, which is the main support vehicle that Neil enjoys. Most swimmers use a kayak, but Neil always, so far, we have worked with having a rigid rib close to him, which is very challenging for the driver to drive a rib 1 meter away from the swimmer, but it gives flexibility. It gives a bigger team to be around him. The core team on a boat is always having a motivator, the feeder, the driver. Usually we have also an observer and a doctor will come on the board, check, etc. So it's always quite a team always around Neil. Lara, his partner, is always looking eye to eye. I think in the 52 hours of the world record swim, if she slept for 3 hours max, or she left his eye to eye contact for 3 hours, I'm saying it's a lot. So it's unbelievable. The connection they have is unbelievable, and she has definitely a big percentage of success in the story of Neil is her connection with him and the drive and the way she speaks to him and she takes him to when he's in bad places and how she manages to get him out. So it's incredible. Then you need all the rest of the crew. If it's his nutritionist who's preparing his shakes, he stops every 28 minutes and he has a menu. This year we put in also there was a mix of a shake, then and every 4 hours we're also giving him some pasta. Due to the long hours, we wanted to give him some solid food so that it doesn't get too cold. The Mediterranean Sea is still a bit cold this time of the year, so we all his organs working and warm. So even after 6 o'clock in the evening, we all change the nutrition into warm drinks or warm food to keep him also warm and as much as possible elusive and liquid to continue swimming, which, as we all know, after the 30-hour mark, he starts sort of any human starts struggling with sleep deprivation. So that's how sort of I build the team. My crucial there are a few team members which sort of there is always I want to have with me, which is the navigator, which is crucial for me, is the guy who's sort of gonna plan the course. And he's the guy who I sailed many miles and we have a lot of experience together. We worked also 3 years together in an office, so just looking eye to eye, and I understand when he's ready a bold move or he's taking semi-risky move. So it's crucial to have certain key roles which I can trust, just looking sort of at them and taking the decision. The same thing with the doctor, who was also a very good sailor, good to have. Again, did multiple miles with her as also, and she it's the way sort of certain areas, even when we're planning evacuation plans, we're planning scenario B, A, C, whatever it takes, all the different stuff. We always have someone I can rely that she has experience of medicating on sea, open sea, both in calm weather and not calm weather, both for Neil and another 25 crew. So you always have to keep in mind that Neil not hurt, and any other of the crew might slip, hit a toe with a cleat, so because sailing boats all have different ropes and cleats running everywhere. So you need to support the crew as much as the Neil itself. So we had over 6 months, we had different scenarios to help the boat Neil in every thing possible you can happen, from a shark attack to a simple amount of jellyfish to a blocked nose to anything you can imagine. We tried to have a different, and then anything to do with the crew, up to a two-take. If you have a two-take, what you're gonna do? You're so many hours away from each other. So we ended up going with 3 doctors this time, which specialize in different areas, and we were quite self-sufficient to arrive anywhere we want. Considering we were at least 10 hours away from any sort of close environment. So it's great to have the right people with you. So.
Yeah. So your 3 doctors, did you only have one navigator?
So Maya, who's the principal doctor, can support David, who is his partner as navigator, and I am sort of, yes, we had one main navigator, which I think together we took quite a bold sort of move this year, because Neil, after the first 15 hours, he was fighting too much the current, and we had to sort of take a bold decision and increase the distance to the finish, and just relieve a bit the current and at least gain towards Malta. So in the morning of the event, all routes we were plotting on the charts were showing us an additional 70 hours, which we knew Neil, already swimming 15, could have. It's impossible to do. So we had to keep it in the 50-55 hour that I know Neil trained, both mentally and physically. And unfortunately, we had to take quite a big gamble, and it turned out to be the right one. We didn't end up finishing in Malta, but we ended up finishing in Gozo, which is a small island close to Malta, which while it wasn't the designated route, it was the only route that Mother Nature let us do on the day. So it has been a very tough time. The weather window opened on the 24th of June, and we had till the 10th July as a team. All the team of 25 people were on standby, so they all put their lives on standby for Neil. And even Neil's training was scheduled for this weather window. And a week before the weather window opened, a huge heat wave started in the Mediterranean. And from there was a huge instability of weather in the Mediterranean, which made us, by the second weather forecast we received from our weather routers from America, showed that the Tunisia-Sicily swim wasn't going to happen. It was quite a tough tough call to take. First of all, to
Yeah.
tell Neil that after 6 months of hard work, and I'm telling you, really hard work to just even get a permit to start from Tunisia. And I wish to thank all the support we got from the local authorities to COVID issues and leaving the European Union, so many different things, and all the planning we did, and to going to plan B. So, and plan B had to come into action in 2 days. So whatever we plan. So yes, it was a long night with local authorities to plan everything for what was taken 6 months. So definitely it was a big call. David had to sort of call it, and I had to take the final decision with Neil. But this is what sort of, when you're the right team, you take the right decisions, and we had to go for it. Was it the right swim to do? It was going to be very difficult. The weather forecast wasn't ideal for a swim, but was the best we had in the weather window we planned. So Neil, as a guy he is, he says, if this is what Mother Nature gave me, so let's go for it. So it's incredible. So definitely the guy has more than 125K in 52 hours. And I'm sure one day or another he will impress all of us by doing a much longer swim. But the guy is a legend. So when he starts swimming, he never stops. So it's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's amazing to me though too, how flexible you guys were able to be. I mean, I saw that change in the course and I was like, I knew we'd spend a little time talking about it. But did I understand correctly that even like once you got going, you said that after 15 hours, Neil was just heading into the current. It was too strong. So you even had to reroute.
It was. And we had to do a sort of we had to relieve a bit to gain what we call in sailing is VMG, velocity made good to where you want to finish. So we had to start doing something to get closer to land, and then hope things move when you get closer to land. But so a bold decision had to be taken, if not, the guy for the first sort of 15 hours, he did 30K, where usually in 11, he's doing the 40K. He averages about 3K an hour. Is what, 3.2, 3.4. So there is anything between 3 and 3.4. So there were points in 28 minutes, he did 600 meters, so it was brutal. It was brutal to see him, but the guy just kept on swimming. But then we had to take a tough decision: is how we're gonna try to gain that. So the current was still against him, but at least we're still making some gains. And instead of 600 meters, we're doing 1.3, then every 1.5, 1.6. In 28 minutes, so it started looking good, and from there we started making ground. Then tough. The first night was all right. We planned that we start the swim at 6 o'clock in the evening, so that the first night he's still very fresh, and we knew if we get him through the second night, keep him focused, keep him warm, keep him sort of not too much hallucinating, seeing things which he was. Trust me.
Yes. I believe it.
I leave it up to him to tell you what he was saying and what. But one thing, when I remember when I read the book of Diane Nutt, who did from Cuba to Key West, she said she was saying Taj Mahal, and when we were discussing it, Neil and myself, I told him, after and she swam for 53 hours. I thought at one point she was telling the crew, "Why are you taking me to the Taj Mahal? Why are you taking me to the Taj Mahal?" And he was saying, when I was talking and I read the paragraph, and I told him she was saying the Taj Mahal. He said, "How can it be?" And at a moment from the sea, he told me, I'm not saying the Taj Mahal, but I'm saying other things." So he definitely understands now how things. But you see the team, they all had different moments with him. We had few people who jumped and swam few pieces with him, even for 30 minutes, because they couldn't keep up with him even at at that time. But he was still swimming quite strong. But just give him that confidence that there is nothing in the sea. Doctors were talking to him and giving him that comfort. Lara was always there to get him out of these dark places. So the second night was really, really crucial, how to sort of support him. The drivers, me and the drivers had a very difficult task to keep him close to the boat, keep him focused. He was going certain sometimes where he was just drifting away from the boat, so I had to call him, keep him in check. He had only a flicker light attached to his swimming suit, so it's very hard to see him at night. So even as a driver, seeing that red light going on and off for all those hours, you start saying, I start saying things to yourself. So we had to work in twos. We increased the night shift. We increased more people on the rib to make sure we don't lose him. So, and he was struggling, I guess. I remember at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, he was saying, when it's sunrise, when I'm arriving, feeling cold, and Lara had to keep him and told him it's only 6 feet away to sunrise. Just focus on that. Don't focus on your dad. Once the sun is here, the energy will come back, and etc. And we just kept him sort of focused on his feeds, because that's how he trains always. So he knows he can go into that sort of meditation of his, where he goes, okay, 6 feet to go, and that's it. So once the sun came up, we started making more gain, and the seas were a bit more calmer, and then he was asking a lot of questions. We're still very backwards. We didn't do 100K yet, so it was very challenging there. And David and I also had to call, definitely we're going to stop in Gozo, not Malta anymore. And we had to find a place in Gozo which breaks the record. Because
on the fly.
On the fly, so I think we measured 100 times, and if you see photos of Gozo where we finished, it's all 100-meter cliffs. So there were like 2 or 3 places where there was a beach between these cliffs. So we really had to get it right where to finish, and we only broke the record by just 1K. So we had to find somewhere to finish, and after many calculations, we told Neil that we were finishing in Schlendi, in Gozo, and by how much we were breaking the record. He wasn't very happy with us, but we told him, you can't see what we are seeing and the times we're seeing. I told him, please trust us that this is the best you can do on the day. And he sort of said, yes, I'm fine. At that time, he had sort of 40K to go. He split them into feeds. That was 10 feeds, and he just put his head down and continued swimming. And this guy that's what he does best, and the rest is story. So,
So what time of night did he finish in Goza?
If I recall, about 10 o'clock, which was going into the third night, which wasn't very ideal.
Right.
You can imagine, once again, he was seeing things. I think the 1K before, he was saying, why there is a wall in front of me, why I can't climb this wall. And out of this blue, Krista, who is another doctor, said the magic words. I don't know from where she said them. She told them, Neil, there is nothing in the water. You are between us. You're in the boats. Just put your head. Trust us. We'll get you to the land. I can't recall. I can't say the words she said, but they were impressive words. It's like So, and he just put his head in the water and swam his last K to the beach. So that's what the team is. I think the team all excelled in different ways, in different moments. I think all 25 people had their moments to say, yes, I was part of it. I gave myself to this adventure, to this expedition. And this is what we still talk about. How I met Neil a few times after the swim and said, while it is not the ideal number to do an expedition, I think the ideal number is 10 maximum when you're doing something like that, or 14. But I can't say that any of the team was extra or just had one role. So it is incredible, and it's very hard when in the future we'll do expeditions where maybe they're not local or sort of financial. You can't take such a big team or a big expedition. It's hard to decide who to leave behind because they all get their best out at the right time. So it is amazing. And I always say we all voluntary. So even to just all get together and focus on one thing, it's unbelievable for me.
So can you compare and contrast your experience professionally with putting a team together versus your volunteer team for something like this?
It is definitely, when you're a CEO of a company and you have 25 people and you say something and they do it, it's different than 25 people who are voluntary. When I ask for a passport, it might take 3 weeks. I have to send 10 reminders. You have to keep calm and, can you send me your copy of your passport? Yeah, I will do it. Can I do that? Yes, I forgot. You have to keep calm and, keep them motivated over the time. And sorry, I forgot we had a call today. Yeah, but you have to accept it. People have their own business to run. They have things to do, COVID doesn't help even to meet around. So everything is done on Zoom calls at the evening after a long day at work. You have kids running over the Zoom calls. So, so it is definitely a journey of planning something, choosing the right people, and making them feel part of it. And that's what I believe as a team principle. That is what you need to get out and sort of. And on the day, anything I requested on the VHF, I was like for 52 hours attached to a radio going, support team or someone, I need something or etc. or plan for this, etc. In few seconds, you see everyone. At any time of the day or night, you see everyone sort of all coming together as needed. And it's incredible. So hats off to them, and I think I have the biggest respect to everyone for what they. I think Neil in the last briefing before he started, he said, "We're going to war. This is war. This is a different war. This is a war with time, and I'm asking you to join in my war." And everyone got his game. And fantastic. It's unbelievable. So it is definitely it's part of me, which I appreciate a lot from what everyone brought together. It is, and it's a different from a professional life, and everyone is bound to come and give their life. But sometimes I think when you're on a voluntary, you're more dedicated and ready to give anything. So.
Your heart is in it, right?
Yeah.
Were there any? Well, I guess first of all, were you able to catch any rest, or were you up for all the 52 hours?
No, I got one full 2 hours, which I slept them solid. It was like, and on the second night, I took 2 power naps on the rib, which were also quite solid for 20. But from my offshore experience, you always get used to sleeping when it's needed and when everything is calm, but you have one ear and eye open to the VHF to make sure everything is right. But I'm used to it. So for me, it wasn't that tough. And then I was going to plan to sleep another 2 hours during the last day when things will look calm. But a long discussion with David on the last final measurements and kept me awake. And but it's fun. It's not a problem. Once it's all finished, then you come home and rest. So the same thing when you asked, does one navigator is enough? The same thing. David had power naps when he needed, when he could, and the rest he was awake and we were plotting and discussing, etc. So that's why you need certain key people who can do what is needed. So
Were there any tense moments?
Second night, definitely. Before we went into the second night, we decided to increase more people on the RIB. Instead of having the normal 3, we were 6. So we doubled up everything. It was crucial. We knew how intense it was, and we really needed to keep Neil in the right place. And so that was a good call to do. And yeah, there are different tense moments. I think we're not discussing them as much today because it was a successful story. But as a sort of, I had this chat with David after, we're not being asked a lot of questions and we're not having a tough debrief. It's because everything went to plan.
Right.
If not, trust me,
Yeah.
the team, the media, the people, why did you decide this? Why did you decide this as plan B? Why did you start that? A lot of questions, why you took an increase the swim by an extra 10K, because actually he swam 135K. So so a lot of questions would have been asked, but and I guess I had to answer all of them if it would have been needed. But thank God everyone is happy and Neil is happy. I guess he's in Ibiza resting a bit. So I guess once he's back, we will be discussing what to do next.
Oh, goodness. That's always to give you, how long does it take you? So he plants the seed of the idea. How long does it take you to come around to to accepting that that's the next challenge?
To be honest, he has a 5-year calendar, what he wants to do.
Oh, wow.
And some of them are quite challenging, but let's see what he wants to do next after this. But definitely, he's definitely. It's not the last thing we heard about Neil and his adventures. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Gosh, I'm so appreciative of your openness and willingness to share with us, Gordon. I love hearing your story, your side of the story, and your background and everything. I'm so grateful for this time.
You're welcome.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should cover before we. Anything else you want to share about the experience? Did you have any other?
No, I guess.
Go ahead.
I think we summoned quite a lot of it. So it's a pity we didn't do Tunisia to Sicily. I think it would have been definitely an epic swim. Definitely much more, in a way, different. It would have brought different challenges on the team, and it's a pity because we really planned well for it. Mm-hmm. So, but it doesn't mean it won't happen one day or another. So everything will be saved on the file and ready to go if needed. But so there is a bit from my end of 6 months planning it. Yeah. Definitely, there's a bit of a funny taste down here in my throat. So but once again, just being part of the team, and it's an honor for us that Neil trusts us. Neil always says, I might have the sometimes easiest job to just put one hand in of the other one, and the rest is, you need to always solve the problem that comes up with. So, and this is what, and sort of, I guess, all the teams which I heard on your podcast and all your swimmers, so need there's a good team behind them to just focus on what they're doing. Because if you get doubts or you've been asked questions, what you want to do, we try to avoid to ask him what you want to do. We have to just do it for him and he focus on his next stroke. Yep. So so that's it from my end.
I think I thought of one last thing, I guess. So I think it's interesting. It's important to point out what you were just kind of describing there with the role Neil has is just to swim. And I mean, I was experiencing this just the other day with going into, I mean, my swim was only like 26 miles on 15 hours, but but there's this surrender that you have to do as a swimmer to your crew, and to have people that you trust. And like you said, it's an honor to support Neil, but for him, and that he trusts you, I think that that's a really important thing. I think for some swimmers, it's hard to let go, and it can be hard for them to surrender, and that can limit them. So I just wanted to point that out.
I think, to be honest, Neil as a swimmer is an easy person to sort of plan a swim with, because the way he is in nature, the way he trusts the team, the key players, the way he sort of, it makes it easier. There isn't all that sort of hard, deep discussions of, a swimmer wants A and the team thinks B is better. So I guess you understand what I mean, where sometimes there is a lot of, discussion. So I think it was quite easy to plan a swim with Neil. I feel it's, in a way, it's quite easy. I guess some people, if you have quite maybe tough characters, or people who want to do everything themselves, and the jet, that might feel difficult to plan something. But for me, I think it was always a pleasure. We had a routine Tuesday at 3:00 to have a call. So that was for 6 months. It was our date on a Zoom call. So, and I used to tell him what I succeeded during the week. If it was something basic, if it was something complicated, he would give sort of his input on things he really wants, the way he wants them himself. And it was sort of, once again, I usually say no, and then after few attempts and he putting it, I surrender and say, okay, I make it happen. So, but by the end, I guess we managed to give him the best possibility to have what he wanted, and I think that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, well, and that, I mean, and you all get to be part of that and carry that with you. And
yes,
I think
it's an amazing chapter in our life. So it's an honor to I believe our life is all chapters, and we managed to write an amazing chapter. So.
Yes, yeah, and what a book you must have to write there, Gordon. I can't wait till it comes out.
we still have a couple of chapters to go. So
yes, indeed.
Yes, so definitely it's all there.
Yeah, and when your autobiography comes up, you just open the file for each project, and you
exactly, and say, okay, this is what we're gonna write in this chapter.
Yep, love it. I can see it all in my computer system. Wow. What a gift to talk to you. Thank you so much, Gordon. I really appreciate your time today. I'm sorry about my camera not working. I really wish you could see me, but I'm just really enjoying looking at you and hearing the story. So thank you so much, and best of luck to your son and his big swim. And
thanks for having. Yeah, good. I will pass on your message.
All right. Thanks, Gordon. Perfect. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed today's interview. Do you want to take Marathon Swim Stories with you? Subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Want to connect with like-minded limit pushers? Join us for Marathon Swim Stories live on Tuesdays at 5:30 a.m. Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, 13:30 GMT. Thanks for watching.